when me and my buddy went to Vegas the first time, when I turned 21 in October, he was in January, so like Easter, we went and didn't plan a single thing. At the airport, when we landed in Vegas, we happened to see an advertisement for an Uncle Kracker concert.
Hell yeah.
Pool party, Uncle Kracker concert. So we bought tickets to that. Then next to our hotel was it's called Brooklyn Bowl, which is essentially Rockin' Bowl.
Okay.
The outside of it, they had a advertisement for a Waka Flocka concert that night. So we got tickets to the Waka Flocka concert. Everything was on a whim. And then at the Waka Flocka concert, we're like 20, 25 people deep, like in the crowd.
Yeah.
A fight breaks out at the front and this opening, just like the seas just parted. So we get to the front, and by the end of the concert, he was in the crowd with us. And at one point, Waka Flocka had his arm around me, and we were just jumping up and down. Best night of my life, and it was not planned at all.
I love it.
So the moral of that is, don't plan your vacations. Just do it on a whim.
Hey, yo.
What's happening?
Welcome back to the Who Effin' Knows podcast, episode 23.
Ooh, Jordan edition.
It's Jordan edition, MJ. Who else is 23? Any other famous 23s?
LeBron.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. The official podcast of Michael Jordan fans everywhere.
Who's
the real GOAT?
Who's a famous 23 in football?
Marshawn Lattimore.
Oh, yeah. Technically Christian McCaffrey now.
Oh, well, yeah, that's fair. Anyways, we have nothing for you today, so that's the podcast. You guys have a great week.
Stay blessed.
Yeah, and we'll see you next time.
We out.
If you stuck with us, I always like to start fun. My birthday is next week.
Happy early birthday.
Yeah, we're not going to record again before my birthday, so I figured we might as well lead off this thing.
I'm not singing happy birthday to you.
I was hoping I could talk him into it. No, I was curious. What is your favorite birthday memory or party, or like just tell me about some great birthday you had?
Off the top of my head, so I'll give you like my favorite gift I've gotten for my birthday. Backstory, my uncle had Saints season tickets for 20 plus years now. After Katrina, he moved out to Dallas with work, and then what happened was we split. Not right after Katrina, obviously. Like when I got to be like 18 or so, we ended up splitting the price of the season tickets because he would only come in for 1 or 2 games,
right?
And obviously you're not going to give up the rights, especially at that time. So we would split the rights, or maybe we'd split the price of it or whatever. And then for my 21st birthday, he's my godfather. So for my 21st birthday, he put the rights of the season tickets into my name, which at the time, not that I'm not still a huge Saints fan, but that was like my peak fandom, So as a gift, he put the tickets into my name, which I thought was pretty cool.
No,
I mean, hindsight, awesome. Now I have to pay for them all, but there's that. Best birthday party? When I was 13, my mom threw me a surprise party. It's the only surprise party I've ever had, so that was cool.
There's something special about that first surprise party, huh?
Yeah, I had my stepdad. We would go golfing every. I guess it's actually my ex-stepdad. We would go.
Shout out.
We'd go golfing like every Tuesday or something like that. So we woke up, went golfing that morning, went back to my grandma's house, and like my whole baseball team was there. And this was after Katrina, so it was guys I hadn't played baseball with since pre-Katrina. So 2 years, I hadn't seen any of them in 2 years. My mom managed to get them all there.
Y'all lived in an area that, I mean, nobody probably lived there anymore, right? Like there was probably, or if they did, like some people were probably scattered.
Yeah, well, 2 years later, people were still pretty much rebuilding. We had like 19 feet of water in our house, so yeah, most of them, not most of them, but a good bit of them live back there now, like moved back in the last like 5 years or so. But yeah, at the time everybody was still scattered. We had just gotten into our house in Slidell. So, but yeah, she managed to get all of them back together like 2 years later and throw them a party. So that was cool.
That's impressive. That's why I was asking, because I mean, it feels like it'd even be hard to track people down. Like, where's so and so? How do we get them? So that's kind of cool.
I don't really have a. I'm sure there is one, but like off the top of my head, like post 21 birthdays, I can't think of anything. It's always usually the same. Like, hey, let's go out and just hang out with the guys or something. But
yeah, I've had 2 birthdays that I really enjoyed. I mean, all my birthdays are always fun, but I've had 2 that I really enjoyed. The first surprise party I ever had was cool because it was just, the surprise aspect is always like, it's special, right? That was a while back. I was younger. I think I was like 24. But my favorite birthday I ever had, or favorite birthday party, whatever you want to call it, it wasn't necessarily a party. My now wife randomly threw together like a bunch of my buddies and friends. I may have invited some. I don't know. It wasn't a surprise or anything. But we went to, I don't even remember what the name of the sushi restaurant is. I think it was called Little Tokyo. Now it's called something else, but it was over there by Rock and Bowl. And then we went to Rock and Bowl after, just on a whim. Got a lane. Didn't realize they had a band that night. There was like me and like 10 of my friends. It was like 2 different groups that never hung out together, so it was awkward. And everybody got drunk. And I forced them to become friends with each other. And then a random country cover band played, and a lot of my friends don't even like country music, and I forced them to do that, and it was a fucking blast. I don't even remember the end of the night.
The best things happen when it's unplanned.
I don't plan anything.
Like how are you on vacations? Like when you plan a vacation, so like when we went to Vegas this last time, the only thing we planned, and not even like necessarily planned, but like we all found like a food spot we wanted to try. And we're like, we're not planning a night to do it, but before we leave, we're going to hit these spots. But other than that, we had a general idea of, because you got downtown Vegas and the Strip. We had a general idea of we want to go downtown on this night, but we don't have anywhere we want to go. So, like, that's how, when me and my buddy went to Vegas the first time, when I turned 21 in October, he was in January. So, like, Easter, we went and didn't plan a single thing. At the airport, when we landed in Vegas, we happened to see an advertisement for an Uncle Kracker concert.
Hell yeah.
Pool party, Uncle Kracker concert. So we bought tickets to that. Then next to our hotel was it's called Brooklyn Bowl, which is essentially Rockin' Bowl.
Okay.
Outside of it, they had a advertisement for a Waka Flocka concert that night. So we got tickets to the Waka Flocka concert. Everything was on a whim. And then at the Waka Flocka concert, we're like 20, 25 people deep, like in the crowd.
Yeah.
A fight breaks out at the front. And this opening, just like the seas just parted. So we get to the front, and by the end of the concert, he was in the crowd with us. And at one point, Waka Flocka had his arm around me, and we were just jumping up and down. Best night of my life, and it was not planned at all.
I love it.
So the moral of that is, don't plan your vacations. Just do it on a whim.
Well, you also have to, if you're not going to plan when you get there, you have to be willing to do things on a whim. Like you can't be like, oh, I don't know, I'm not sure. I don't know how it's going to end up. Just fucking do it. Just go do something.
Right. Most things only take like an hour, 2 hours. Like, you got time. Just go for it. If you don't like it, find something else.
Go do something else. Yeah. Let it develop. Also, I don't know if you hear the dogs in the background, but we're outside. It's during the day. So, my daughter may come down and interrupt us. We'll see how this goes. My favorite, I don't plan on trips at all. I think it depends on the trip. I was going to say my favorite trip, but we don't even have to go through that. Like Disney, you have to plan a little bit. What I always do going into vacation.
Well, Disney kind of forces you to plan.
If you don't, you're kind of fucked. But no, I think going into vacations, what I normally do is similar. Like, I'll look up like cool bars, cool restaurants, and I'll be like, okay, cool. Like, maybe one night we'll do this. One night we'll go here. Like, but it's never planned. I go with other people, and I've done trips where they do plan everything to a T. And like, as long as I don't have to plan it and I can just follow along, I'm cool with it. But no, not a big planner at all.
Yeah, I'm not. I've never really done a big vacation with like a bunch of friends. I've gone with like one other couple or two that we've just gone to like a beach, so you don't really have anything to plan. It's just kind of hanging out. But I don't think I'd be very good at just kind of. I like to be in control a little bit. Hola. I forgot what I was saying.
You like to be in control a little bit. You couldn't do the beach thing.
Like, I don't.
Or
I
you
don't.
could do the beach thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I was gonna go with that. Let's just move on.
That's fine. Sorry for anyone who doesn't know. My daughter. So I'm at the house watching my daughter alone today.
We need a third or second camera, like just at the door, because this is 2 weeks in a row.
My
I want them
daughter
to know
just
we're
came
laughing
and,
at.
slammed her face into the door. She may come say hello on the podcast here in a second. She's letting my puppy out. But no, a few things to talk about. We're kind of in the middle here, right? Like there's the NBA season's rolling, but it's getting kind of redundant. There's injuries. There's trade deadline coming up. We could talk about that kind of stuff. Playoffs are starting for the NFL, but the Saints aren't in. So, I mean, I don't really want to there's nothing I have to say. If we want to have some fun talk, I did write this down, and we were talking about it the other day in our group chat. What's your favorite conspiracy theory? Do you have one?
I don't. You gave me a few days to think about it too, and I don't. I've tried to think of one. I really have, but I don't really have a favorite one. I wish I would have found like something funny to come here with, but I got nothing for you. To be fair, I spent like 5 seconds trying to think about it, but I figured you'd have one, and then we could just go off on a tangent.
So do you like conspiracy theories?
It depends. So, like some of them, I'm like the ones that people try to use to be like divisive and stuff. Like I don't like that. That's like just stupid. But the whole like the moon landing one, that's funny.
Yeah,
I'll laugh at that.
Yeah,
even like flat Earth is funny to me sometimes. Yeah.
So that's actually what started this. We're talking the other day. I don't even remember what it was about, just not having as many sport. Like we're obviously going to still have sports conversations here, but we find that when we have conversations about random other stuff, people interact more. So like if you guys just want to hear random shit, that's what we're going to do. Anyways, I was like, yeah, I'm going to just start talking nonsense and bringing up Donald Trump and seeing how many hits we get. That's not really what I'm here to do. But then we started talking about conspiracy theories, and he brought up the moon landing, and I laughed. I love conspiracy theories, first of all. I think that they're so fun, whether they're true or not, like going down the rabbit hole and getting lost.
Oh, you get sucked into it, too.
Oh, it's so fun. Favorite, I'm going to say two that, like, I like reading about. They're not my favorite, but they're so deep. Like, the Illuminati, obviously, any, like, celebrity. If like
Tupac being alive, that's fun.
Going down the rabbit hole of that is always fun. And there's so many connections you can follow there, right? It doesn't even matter where you go. The Rothschilds, like that goes deep just because they're rich.
The most recent one was, remember when people thought Wayfair was shipping children?
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Crazy.
I was at work that night. I was stuck on a TikTok rabbit hole for hours.
And listen, I don't know if it's true. Like I'm one of those people that like I actually firmly believe that there's a tiny bit of truth to every single one of these, and then a lot of it's nonsense.
Well, the truth is always lies in the middle somewhere.
Yeah.
You know.
So, but no, my favorite, and this is just because I think it's funny, my favorite is probably the Loch Ness Monster. And it's because recently what people say is that there never really was a Loch Ness Monster. If you look at pictures of Nessie and then you look at pictures of a whale's penis sticking out of the water, it's the same thing. So that's my favorite. That for a century people have been thinking a whale's penis was the Loch Ness Monster.
Oh, that's funny. That's good. I like that. I've never heard that before.
Yeah. Look it up. Compare the pictures. I'm telling you. That's what it is.
Yeah, no, that's funny. I don't have any, but like you say, it's always fun to just you get a new one every month or so it seems, and you just deep dive into it. And you always there's always the phase of starts with no way this is true. 2 hours later, this is 100% true. 3 hours later, all right, maybe a little bit ridiculous.
You tricked me for a second. You got me. I went down the rabbit hole. You were believable for a second.
Right.
You QAnon bitches, you. I'm just playing, guys. It's a joke. It's a yoke.
Man. I have a somewhat fun sports topic if you want to get into it.
What you got?
Goosebumps moments in sports.
Goosebumps moments. Okay.
Goosebumps are like those spiritual moments.
Mm-hmm.
So, context, the Buffalo Bills returning the opening kickoff the other day is what made me think about this. So anybody who doesn't know, I mean you should know, the Bills returned the opening kickoff of the game after the DeMar Hamlin situation for a touchdown. Crazy. Even if you're not a Bills fan, like that's one of those moments.
Yeah, it's special.
What are some of your favorite I'm gonna call them goosebumps, spiritual, whatever, you know.
being put on the spot, like nothing. I have my own personal ones.
Yeah.
But like nationally, like trying to remember things.
That's what I want your personal
My
ones.
very first thought I have, obviously you have after Katrina, the block
Gleason,
punt, but that's not even what I went to. Being in person, I wasn't in person for that. I saw that on TV. That was still very special. The Super Bowl was very special.
Mm-hmm.
The field goal kick, pigs are flying. Like that was hell froze over. That was special. But in person, I was at an NBA playoff series against the Lakers, watching Chris Paul just dice up the defense, and feeling the atmosphere at now the Blender, but back then just the New Orleans Arena, and watching Chris Paul basically drag us single-handedly and make Aaron fucking Gray look like one of the best centers in the league. Listening to the crowd, it was at some point in like the middle of the fourth quarter screaming "Beat LA," it was just fun. It was special. I had goosebumps.
I guess I was a little more dark with it. I started because I was thinking of the Bills situation, and I just came up with stuff on top of my head. It was like those moments where like something tragic happens, and then just so happens the next thing. So the first thing I think of as a Marlins fan, the game after Jose Fernandez died, the first pitch of the game, D. Gordon hits a home run. Who never hit home runs ever? Might even been his first one of the year.
Yeah, I remember that. That was crazy.
Crazy. When Sean Taylor died, Clinton Portis, who was like his best friend, had like the game of his life. Brett Favre, after his dad, is one you can think of, although fuck Brett Favre.
He did have a hell of a game after his dad died. That was crazy.
There was another one. Marquise Goodwin like lost his child and had like some monstrous touchdown. And I remember him like just collapsing in the end zone afterwards. And his teammates had to like help him off the field.
Raw emotion.
Those are the ones that are just super emotional.
You know what comes to mind?
To me.
Goosebumps moments for me. I don't know if it's because I didn't expect it or what. It was after Kobe died, and like you see all the teams taking the 24-second violation or the 8-second violation, and it was just like, man, like at first it's like, why are they doing that? And it's like, oh, it just hits you, and you're like, oh shit. And then you see this team do it, and then this team do it. It got old after a while, but like it was just like, damn, like that's. I don't know. Yeah, like the way they honored him was crazy.
The then Redskins did the same thing for Sean Taylor, where they only just lined up with 11 on defense.
Yeah.
But
I remember that with 10.
Yeah, I need to think of a happy one. Instantly went to tragedy.
I know.
I feel terrible.
Well, but I think that's kind of what it is, right? Like some of those special moments come from tragedy. Like, the happiness after the tragedy. Makes it special. My daughter's screaming at me because she wants me to come help her down the slide in our backyard. So if you don't have kids or you don't like kids, don't watch my podcast.
You're missing out.
Yeah. No, it's fine. Live your life. You probably have a lot of fun on the weekends. No, I love my family.
That was the only topic I had.
That's it.
But I thought about it the other day, and I was just like, there's been a lot of those in my lifetime, and There's probably more that I'm not even thinking of, but off the top of my head, that's a lot of my fandom. That's like those are just connected, not the Redskins, but Sean Taylor, connected with me. But that was just like in my life.
Yeah. My daughter's obsessed with school buses. I'm gonna be distracted this whole podcast, so we'll see how this goes for the rest of it. Maybe we take a break and come back, but we'll figure it out. I had some topics we could talk about. Specifically, let's see. I had some stuff written down. There's a few. There's like the.
I hope they can hear this in the background. I don't know if the mics are gonna pick it up or not.
It might.
Look, you want me to just...
Yeah, my daughter saw a school bus. No, there's a few things NFL related, like coaching carousel related. It's already picking up. We'll talk Sean Payton in a second. Trade destinations, whatever. Sean McVay, like the whispers of him, like not wanting to come back because he doesn't want to deal with a rebuild. Who wants to deal with a rebuild? What are your thoughts on Sean McVay, first of all, and then we'll take it from there?
Well, I mean, like not thinking about that. Like, I mean, obviously he's a great coach. I was listening to something the other day, and they were talking about it. Like, his coaching tree already is crazy. Is he a Hall of Famer?
I think so. Like,
why?
I can't say. Like, he just seems like such a genius. Well, maybe not, because, like, is Mike Martz a Hall of Famer? That's right. I'm comparing him to Mike Martz. Is Mike Martz a Hall of Famer?
I don't know. Like, I guess I get the argument, but to me, it just feels like it's not enough.
Yeah, no, I think you're right.
Like, people debate Sean Payton.
Yeah. No, I think you're right, because my initial reaction was yes, but then I thought about it, and instantly Mike
and all
Martz
he
comes
has
to mind.
over
I'm like,
Sean
maybe
Payton.
not.
I don't want to say all he has over Sean Payton, because, like, he has a coaching tree. Sean Payton doesn't necessarily have a coaching tree. He's part of the Bill Walsh.
Does a coaching tree make you a Hall of Famer? Because, like, Bill Belichick's coaching tree is terrible.
So this is when I say that, Sean McVay, like, brought a new offense to the game, and now that offense is all over the league and it's successful. So I mean, I think that when I say coaching tree, I guess just like his scheme, kind of similar like the Shanahan thing, where like maybe the coaching tree doesn't matter, but the Shanahan offense is known as, something that's successful. I don't think anybody really ran a Sean Payton offense. Like, people obviously you could see it all over the league where somebody would run a play and you'd be like, okay, that's a Sean Payton. Like, the Saints read that 2 weeks ago, But, yeah, I was wondering, I don't know if he's a Hall of Famer already. Like, he's only like 36.
Yeah, no, I think that's a fair point. I don't know if he is. I really don't know if he is.
He's got one Super Bowl. He got to a second one, fluky, but got there. I mean, besides this year, the team's never been unsuccessful.
Yeah. No, you're right. But I think so. The thing and that's an interesting point, an interesting conversation. I wasn't even thinking along the times of like Hall of Fame coach, this and that. Like, he's obviously a phenomenal coach. Like, would I take him in New Orleans? Absolutely.
Yeah,
but it's like when you look at coaches, and this is how I judge coaches, to be completely honest. How do they manage their bad years? How do they manage the roster when it's a little rough? I mean, that team, from the second he stepped foot there, has been mortgaging their future.
If I was a Rams fan and he left, you know how I feel about Sean Payton. If I was a Rams fan,
I feel like it's worse.
Yeah, I was about to say I'd be more heated at him than I feel about Sean Payton.
At least Sean Payton, like,
he went through some years.
He was like, you know what, I'm going to try.
Yeah,
I'm going to try.
Sean
And then
Payton
he was like, you know what, this ain't worth it.
Granted, it was just like 7-9, 3 years in a row, but like that was his bad years. Like, those years were not great for the Saints, And he went through it, and he's older now. Like, I understand Sean Payton not wanting to go through a rebuild. Not that I thought we were going to go through a rebuild. We're still not in a rebuild. But, yeah, and then the Sean Payton situation ain't nearly as bad. Like, they didn't trade away the whole future and then Sean Payton leaving. Like, if he leaves.
That's kind of why I was asking. Like, it's like,
I'll look at him differently if he leaves. Now, granted, if he leaves, he's coming back.
Or even be smarter about it, right? Like, at least Payton didn't say, hey, listen, I don't want to deal with what's happening in New Orleans right now. I want to take a step away. Like, he just, he kind of like, you knew why he was taking a step away, but it was like, maybe he's burnt out. Who knows?
Right.
Reports were, he's tired. Okay, fine. McVay, they're bluntly saying he's not tired. He just doesn't want to deal with the roster.
It kind of speaks to like a generational gap in the coaches, right? Because like Belichick, he doesn't even have to say whether Belichick, Tomlin, they don't even have to say whether they're coming back after a bad year. Like, it's just, we're coming. Of course, we're coming back.
Right.
But like a younger coach like McVay is like, I need like a mental break. Like,
he's not even saying that. Yeah. He's basically saying.
Well, what I'm saying, like, he's coming. He can leave. If he leaves, he's gonna leave. I'd bet my life that he's coming back at some point.
Oh, for sure,
100%. So that's really all he's saying is, I need a mental break, and you know what? It's probably not gonna be here when I come back. Similar to Sean Payton,
right?
So it's like Mike Tomlin would never. If the Steelers went like 3 and whatever, Tomlin's gonna be like, I'm coming back. You think I'm going out like that?
No, and that it speaks to. So, and I think the reason I judge that even more so is because, like, as a coach, as an athlete, anything like that, you're like taught to be ultra competitive, and if at the first sign of this might not work out, you're bolting. I'm judging the shit out of you.
And you have to imagine he's competitive. Like,
he has to be.
You have to imagine that. And it's like, I mean, like us, for example, like very low low tier athletes that play pickup basketball. If you lose a game in pickup basketball, you're
Run it
like,
back.
run that shit back.
Run it back.
Like,
Oh,
yes.
you beat me 11-1. I don't care. Run
Right.
it back. Run
Y'all
it
want to
back.
switch teams? No, I want this team.
fuck
Let's go
no.
again.
Yeah, we about to beat your
Yeah.
ass.
So like it's so crazy to me that he just I'm honest. Obviously, the stresses of what he does is exponentially greater than that example, but it's the same concept, you would think, and it'd be different if they had done this 3 years in a row. I'd look at it maybe differently and be like, all right,
Yeah.
you gave it a shot.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man.
I get that. I totally agree. I just wanted to see if we were kind of aligned in that mindset,
Yeah, 100%.
or really how anyone out there thinks of it. Outside of that, she's fine. She's fine, guys. She's scared of the slide.
What does she have set up? So she looks like she has a crazy setup here. She was looking like she was going to go down the slide into this little bouncy chair.
We're giving you guys play-by-play on my daughter right now.
I would love to see how that was going to play out.
I've been like cursing as this has been going on, but she's been far enough to where she hasn't been able to hear me. So I guess we'll have to stop that now that she's at the table. Come here, sweetie. You want to come say hello to the people in the world and then go back and play? No?
No.
Okay, that's fine. Let me finish.
Oh, no.
Oh,
Ants.
yeah? Why don't you go inside and grab your tablet?
Oh,
And
ants.
go play
not
with your
good.
tablet for a minute, and then when I'm done, we'll go for a walk and we'll scooter. Okay?
Okay.
All right, go ahead, sweetie.
What a sad face that was.
I don't know if this is going to make it in the podcast.
Oh, it
but
is.
if
You
does,
think
it's
you
fine.
think I'm taking the effort to cut any of this?
So no, what I was going to get into is Sean Payton. Trade destinations are starting to formulate. You're starting to see now with the carousel. People be interested. People have fired their coach. You got the Texans. You got the Broncos. You got the Cardinals. Maybe the Panthers. Maybe. Who knows? But those three at least have shown interest. What are your thoughts?
Like where do I think he ends up? Or?
Yeah, whatever. I wanted to leave it open, see where you want to take the conversation. But yeah,
I don't know. Best situation for him is probably Arizona of the three so far that have reached out, I would think. I don't think the Texans is as bad of a situation as people might think it is. I feel like if you get a coach in there that's knows how to run, I mean, look at where the Saints were when he took over. Like, if he can turn that around, granted, our ownership might be better than that's exactly how that situation was going to play out. If I don't think you could get a coach in here.
you did it.
I love that reaction.
Right there, baby.
But yeah, if he can turn the Saints around, like, I think that's exactly the type of coach the Texans would want. Somebody that's been through
a rebuild.
Yeah.
Yeah. A quick rebuild.
Whether he wants to deal with that again, I don't know. I don't know how long he plans to continue coaching. But I think Arizona is probably the best.
Yeah.
The one that's got a vacancy that surprises me they haven't reached out to me yet is Indy.
Indy, yeah. That's fine, sweetie. Indy is interesting. If we're looking purely at roster, so I don't think this is where he ends up. But if we're looking purely at roster, I really do think Denver is a good destination. You would think.
Depends on how you feel about Russ.
Well, I mean, that's fair, but like one bad year, okay, maybe Russ is washed. People will debate and say Russ has never been that great. That's fine. He's still had some good numbers through his years. There's a lot. There's a great roster, in place. I think that Payton, being the offensive guru, could make it work. The defense is great, especially if I don't know if Vic Fangio goes back to Denver, but if reports are true that Fangio's going with him, I mean it seems like a perfect situation. I mean, I could see Arizona. Oh, hey, Dylan.
We got dogs. We got babies.
Okay, baby.
Welcome.
Can I finish?
Welcome to the show.
Okay. I think Arizona's a good destination. I I'm just really curious how the Kyler Murray situation plays out. I don't know what read I have on him because he needs to do some better PR on himself. He needs to find a way to not look like someone who's just purely relying on skill or like talent to get himself over. Because that contract clause really damaged his character or his perception around the league. And then watching him yell at his coach on the sideline and stuff like that,
and
it just doesn't.
That's
look
the
good.
crazy thing, because like him and Kingsbury were like this coming into the league, right? Now like Sean loved him coming out of college. I remember. I wonder what I'd be interested to know what his opinion of him is now. You'd imagine he's got like some good sources around the league that can tell you more. He can know more about Kyler than we can. So I guess that's probably. He says the quarterback situation doesn't matter as much as we make it out to be. I don't believe that for a second.
I don't know if I believe that.
Because like we both said, the second the Chargers would come available, then he's like that. If he went anywhere other than the Chargers, if the Chargers job came open, I'd be shocked. And that has everything to do with Justin Herbert.
I think it has. Well, yes, it has to do with Justin Herbert. I really just think that he wants to be in a. The NFL, if I could take a step back, the NFL is kind of going the way of the NBA right now. Like players are looking at cities they want to go to, high profile players. They're not being they're not sticking with teams as long as they used to. They're not sitting there saying, "Oh, this team drafted me. I need to give them a chance and stay with them forever." They're saying, "No, screw that. I want to go play for this team with my buddies." Like they're teaming up more. They're kind of taking that approach. Everybody wants to be in LA. Everybody wants to be in Miami. Like you're starting to see that more and more and more. So I could totally see him going to one of those premier destination cities.
Yeah, I think he ends up. I don't think this is going to be the only three teams. I tweeted out the other day. I think there's going to be a team that surprises somebody with a firing. Like I think one of these playoff teams. If Dallas gets bounced in the first round.
Yeah, I could see that.
And Jerry Jones finally has his chance.
Yeah.
Which is always the Dallas thing is weird to me. He says like ownership is like that triangle he keeps talking about is the most important thing. I just can't imagine Sean Payton wanting to deal with Jerry Jones. Like there is no triangle. Number one, it's a line in Dallas because it's Jerry Jones and the coach. Like Sean Payton is not going to let somebody else run his show.
I think that there's an interesting dynamic between Payton and Jerry. I think that Jerry may actually let Payton have a lot more of a say than people are thinking.
What do you think about this idea? I've seen it floated around of him maybe bringing Jeff Ireland with him.
I've seen that
or something like that.
I would hate that.
I would hate that
personally. I would hate that.
What were you going to say?
I was going to say I think Jeff Ireland has been one of the most underrated people in the Saints organization because of how well he's been able to scout and build this roster out.
Is maybe a hot take. I would be more upset if he took Ireland or Kai Hartley than I would be if he took Loomis.
I think that's fair. I mean, you see Loomis is the face, right? Like Loomis is the guy you think is building this and to an extent he is, but like Ireland has been a phenomenal. Like he's had a phenomenal eye for talent.
Yeah,
our draft success.
He had some misses, but his hit rate is absurd.
It's been really good.
Yeah, outside of defensive linemen in the first round.
Well, yeah, that's a theme for.
But you tell him, Dylan. Yeah, I've been saying for a couple of years now. I wish they would. Like you don't want to lose those guys. I wish that Loomis would just kind of like take another role. Like a higher role and let Kai Hartley or Ireland become the face. You know what I mean? So that we could keep all of them.
I do know what you mean.
I think Dallas could be one. We both think the Chargers could end up being one. And I still believe that if the Chargers get bounced in the first round, it's a chance.
I think it's a chance. I think it's definitely a chance. It would kind of catch me off guard if they got bounced in the first round and they fired their coach. I could see it happening, but it's his first time making the playoffs.
That's part of it.
Yeah, I know.
That team is so loaded with talent. But like, I don't think he's one where they're not just going to upgrade to upgrade. And I think it's the same with Dallas. I don't think they're going to upgrade just to upgrade.
Right.
Because you can do worse than Mike McCarthy.
Absolutely. You could argue that I think we've said this on the podcast before. You could argue that Mike McCarthy and Sean Payton are the same guy. Like,
yeah.
I don't think they are, but you can make the argument. So why would you fire Mike McCarthy without knowing you're getting someone better?
Right. Yeah, I don't know. For the Saints, obviously you would want. I think the best one for the Saints is Houston, which I don't know. I don't think it's going to happen, but I think, I don't think he goes to Houston, but it's the best one for the Saints because they have 2 first-round picks, and
it makes sense.
You would think they would be willing to part with this 12th is the pick.
It makes
which
sense.
is only 2 picks behind where the Saints should be, so it works out perfectly for the Saints.
Yeah.
I don't think Arizona. Is she stuck?
I don't think so.
No. Let's make sure. We're good. They could have been sticky.
I think we're gonna cut this pod short pretty soon here.
Yeah.
We're at about 34 minutes, 35
running
minutes.
short here. To wrap that up, I don't think Arizona comes off a 3. I'd be shocked if Arizona gave me the 3rd pick.
I would absolutely be shocked if we got 2 or 3.
But
whether we're talking,
yeah, I'd be willing from Arizona to take a 2nd from them this year and their 1st next year because I don't think Sean Payton fixes all their issues.
I think,
there's a chance that you could have another top 10 pick with them, and you'd have 2 first-round picks in a draft with a loaded quarterback class.
I'm not buying that at all.
What?
I don't think. I think if Sean Payton goes there, they're not going to be a top 10 pick.
I said a chance.
Yeah, I think at worst you're looking at like 7 and 10, which is still not a top 10. Well, it could be a top 10 pick. I guess you're right. Yeah.
I mean, if it's like this year, it could be anywhere between 6 and 20. It feels like everybody was 7 to 8 wins. It feels like this year.
It's true. It's very true.
I think I could see it going both ways in Arizona. How often is it that a coach, just a coach, can come in and change the whole thing? Is there? Granted, I guess we don't see it with that level of coach.
Peyton did it. Doug Peterson did it twice. You see it.
Peyton also did it with a Hall of Fame quarterback at his side,
who wasn't even healthy that first year. It depends how you look at it. Like, yes, he did. A very intelligent.
Not saying he's not a good head coach, a great head coach. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility to say he goes there and it just not work, at least in the first year. Because if you're truly rebuilding building a program, it's going to take more than a year. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. I don't know that I guess more realistically, probably top 15 is if it goes bad.
I could definitely.
You know what I mean? But still, either way, you have two first-round picks, and I don't think that the Saints end up with a 20 or worse pick next year if we keep that as salad, unless they get like an offensive guru in here and it turns around, But you have 2 first-round picks and a loaded quarterback class. Like, that's
just exasperated thinking of like
we're not getting to the Saints. We're not doing Saints
next year.
But yeah, I don't know. I'll be interested to see. Like I said, I don't think all the teams that are going to be landing spots are available yet. It feels like there's going to be one more.
I think you're going to see more, and I think it's going to be interesting. Who knows? I'm hoping that they can leverage each of these teams if people really want Peyton.
Yeah,
who knows?
You got to hope that it seems like the Broncos are willing to do whatever.
That's what they say.
You just got to hope that there's at least 2 teams bidding for him, and that's it.
Yeah, I agree.
That's all I got on Sean Payton.
You got anything else before we run here?
Nah, I got nothing. I feel like we had some good conversations here in 40 minutes.
All right, cool. Well, I'm going to go take care of my daughter. I'm going to be a parent for a change. Not for a change. I'm a parent every day, guys.
Same. I'm going to go get my kid.
It's been real. You can follow me at the Patty V.
At the Dave Rainey.
Follow at Be in the Know. Follow at Who Effin' Knows. We're everywhere. YouTube, every place you can find a podcast.
The TikTok's going to start picking up.
TikTok's going to pick up.
I'm going to put more effort into that, guys.
Yeah. Interact with us. Talk to us. Tell us things you want to see. Talk about my daughter. Don't talk bad because I'll come for you.
Me too.
Like Liam Nielsen.
Me too.
Taken.
This is adopted family now.
Yeah.
Spend too much time with Pat.
But yeah, until next time, that's it.
We out.
Later.